The Samsung Galaxy A04s or the Galaxy A13? It's actually a very reasonable question to ask, seeing that the recently released and more affordable Galaxy A04s has a lot of similarities to the A13, not just in specs but also in design. But both have distinctive features and advantages that can be a deciding factor for which to choose. But I'm sure the exact question on everyone's mind is if the Galaxy A04s is a better deal. Let's find out. To make this comparison as precise as possible, I'll be focusing on key areas where these devices are similar or differ from each other. If you wish to see detailed individual reviews of either the A04s or A13, I'll have links in the description so you can check them out. At first glance, you could mistake the new Samsung Galaxy A04s for the A13, as it sports the exact same design with very subtle difference, one of which is the slight texture on the rear of the A04s compared to the purely glossy finish on the A13. Another difference you'll notice is that the A13 gets an extra camera sensor above the flashlight, so it's a quad rear camera setup compared to the triple setup on the A04s. The A13 also gets the advantage on build quality as it gets a Gorilla Glass 5 protected display, so tougher glass, but depending on how you choose to look at it, that's not exactly an advantage, as it also means it will be costlier to fix should you damage the display. As a matter of fact, the Galaxy A13 is part of the devices eligible for Samsung Care Plus complimentary screen repair. The Galaxy A04s, however, while with lesser display protection, is pretty much cheaper to fix the display at just 12,500 Naira anytime. That's less than $20. Samsung Care Plus registration is not required. But there's also the fact that the Galaxy A13 has better display quality, but we'll get to that later. Now note that the A13 should be the better device as it's a higher A series device and has some spec advantages. Now this video is to show just how much close the Samsung Galaxy A04s is to the A13, since it sports a similar design and has the same processing power, which might just be enough for some. Now on price, the A04s is more affordable. While the current exchange rates have pushed their prices up significantly, you can actually pick up the A04s from Jumia for about 96k and the A13 for about 110k. They actually cost more, but I guess Black Friday season. I'll leave links in the description so you can get the best deals. Now both devices weigh exactly the same, they have the same battery capacity and both support 15 watts fast charging, and they both come with a charger in the box, so no worries about that one. They run on the same One UI 4.1 core software based on Android 12, and I've not noticed any major software advantage of the A13 over the A04s. Since they both run on the same Exynos 850 processor, you can expect the performance to be largely the same, except for the slightly smoother animations on the A04s thanks to its higher refresh rate display. They will both get about 2 to 3 years of software support from Samsung. The A13 might get an extra year of software support, but that's just my speculation. But it will definitely get faster updates since it's higher up the pecking order on the A series lineup. Now while these two may look the same, in terms of functionality, the A04s gets the lesser 720p IPS display compared to the higher res 1080p display on the A13, which looks a lot better and, like I mentioned before, gets Gorilla Glass 5 protection. But the Galaxy A04s compensates by having 90Hz refresh rate, which is more than the 60Hz on the A13. That is to say, you get smoother animations on the A04s, and it feels smoother overall thanks to the higher refresh rate. It now comes down to what you prefer between a really good high-res 1080p display but with 60Hz or a decent 720p display, which is standard for this price point but with 90Hz refresh rate. Which would you choose? Let's see what most would prefer in the comments. Now if you watch my individual reviews on these two, I mentioned that the Exynos 850 is not your average gaming processor, but it's good at everything else. That doesn't mean it won't do low graphics gaming though. Just keep your expectations low. The A04s might have the slight advantage on the gaming performance due to its low resolution and high refresh rate, but I doubt it will be major. Now another major functionality difference is in the cameras, as the A13 gets the better overall camera specifications, sporting a better 8MP selfie camera and gets an additional 5MP ultra wide camera. The rest of the specifications are the same 50MP main camera, macro and depth sensor. You get the gist. Now I'll also go on to say it has a better overall camera performance, but I'll let you all be the judge on how their photos compare side by side. They both shoot videos at 1080p 30fps from both selfie and rear cameras. Okay, so this is a selfie camera comparison between Samsung Galaxy A13 and A04s, with the A04s having the lesser 5 megapixel selfie camera compared to the 8 megapixel camera on the A13. So both shooting at 1080p 30 frames per second. Ideally the A13 should have the better selfie camera quality. It does look so from the viewfinder, but you guys let me know which actually looks better. And also their microphone quality. They both have dual noise cancelling microphones. So yeah, A13 versus A04s. As for which to choose, you can't go wrong with either. If you're someone that doesn't use cameras that much, the A04s should suffice, as its cameras are decent and it's more affordable, while packing the same performance. But you can get the A13 if you have preference for its cameras and want that sharper 1080p display. You only get to sacrifice 90Hz refresh rate. The pricing of both is actually not that far apart. Hopefully this video helps you decide which best suits your smartphone needs, or you can just be a baller and buy both. Peace.